Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is David Morales. I am the Senior Vice President of Technology and CIO for Western Governors University, and I'm happy to see you here. With me is one of my technology partners, Ashish.
Pleasure to meet you all. Ashish Fernando, CEO and founder at iSchool. We've been partnering with WGU for about 2 years now, I think.
That's correct.
Focused on building top-notch enrollment AI models for our institutions, and WGU is one of our premium partners. So happy to be here and talk to you.
So today we figured you've been in so many different sessions and you've been listening and hearing about a lot of different topics. So today we're actually going to sing it for you. Just kidding.
We're going to wrap it.
You don't want me to. You really don't want me to. But thank you again for coming. Today we're actually going to be addressing several technology and design principles for how to bring your AI to your students' journey. The topic we want to address is building the future of students' journey with effective AI and the UI and the UX that is required to be successful, or at least what we have seen, and it is actually being very successful at WGU. And I'm sorry, I will not be singing. You're very welcome for me not singing for you. Let me just ask really quick around this whole crowd, how many of you are educators? Raise your hand if you're an educator. Don't be shy. We won't ask questions, I promise. Okay. How many of you are in technology, actually implementing the technology for students? Don't be shy. It's okay. We're cool. And how many of you are investors or others? Other type of roles? Okay. Thank you so very much. We appreciate you all being here. As I said, today we're going to talk about this, and what is the journey of WGU and how we have done it and how we're seeing a lot of success with some of the components that we have implemented. So I'm going to go as fast as I can. As fate had to show, this one is not working on us, so if you see me looking on this side, please know that is the reason why. We want to talk to you about the design around the student experience. Why is designing around the student experience is going to be key for you to be successful as you implement the AI for them. I want to talk about our self-service student journey, how AI improves the experience, and what is in the future of the technology, at least for WGU's perspective. I will try to tell you a lot about the story of the why, and I'm going to lean on Ashish for him to tell you more about the story of how. So with that said, let me just tell you that everything that we do at WGU is centered, it's focused on our students. We truly believe that anything that we do should be in benefit for them. I really like this quote from Scott Pulsifer, our president, who said, you have to think about the student who is the primary beneficiary of all innovation at WGU. So when you start thinking about how you're going to implement AI and how you're going to bring all these great tools that you've heard about during this conference, think about what are the outcomes and walk back to how you're going to start implementing it. Think about what you're trying to achieve. Technology for the sake of technology has never been successful. I've been doing technology for at least 28 years, and I can tell you for sure technology for the sake of technology is not going to take us anywhere. With that said, one of the things that I'll consider is the behavioral models that are there and theories that are out there. There's specifically one, the Fogg behavioral model, that tells you that there's a trade-offs between the motivation of individuals and also how easy is the task that they are to do, right? The easier the task is, the easier that they can get engaged, or the harder the task is, if there's no motivation, they're really not going to start engaging. So as we start thinking about, okay, how we're going to bring AI, where AI is going to solve, we're trying to solve for components that will bring everything that we can prompt our students, serve our students, provide services to our students inside the prompts where we know it's going to be successful, which is right in the middle of the quadrant. Why? Because we need to design solutions. AI is going to make things easier, but if you don't have the right flow, if you don't have the right structure, if you don't have the right user interface combined with the experience you're trying to solve for, it's going to be hard for them to pick it up. So we're trying to focus on how we use AI and the user experience at the right level with the right motivation and the right easiness of consumption of the systems. So as we start designing software and start designing solutions, That's what's in our mind. Now, I'll tell you that we at WGU, we see the experience of our students as a whole trip. From the time they start thinking about going to attain an education, all the way to attainment and graduation and growth in their careers. But we're choosing it to break it in 3 specific pieces. And this is for easiness of design and solving. We're choosing to break it into what we call the discover, accept, and orient, or the discovery on what courses or programs are out there, what kind of certifications students can get. That is what we call the unified enrollment experience. We move then into what is the actual adaptive learning experience. Once they're part of the university, what is the experience we want them to have? And we think a lot about what our experience is, and there's a lot of different experiences inside the adaptive learning. And then we break it into the third component, which is, okay, they're attaining, they receive whatever skill or degree they're seeking, and how we're going to continue to help them grow in their careers and in experience with their skills that they're having. So we at WGU, we're deciding to think about the holistic experience in 3 different chunks. And we have a lot of people working on those 3 different chunks, dreaming about what is the next experience and how can AI enhance those experiences for our students. Again, it's all about the student. I'm going to say that one more time. It's all about the student. The outcomes should be in favor of our students. It's not sufficient that we're improving our operational components or flows or processes. It has to be about the student. So with that said, we decided to start embracing a self-service model. Why? Because we believe that when we make systems so easy to consume, when we understand the journey of our students and we break it into these 3 different chunks, we believe that by designing solutions that are self-service, will enable our students with the data at the right time to enable them to make the right solutions. So we're focusing on, as we bring AI, how can we enable our students to consume AI in a self-service model such that the services they're consuming will enable them to be successful in the journey? So with that said, I'm going to share with you 3 tenets that we have for the design of self-service components or services or technology or solutions, whatever you guys want to call it. The first one is we provide students with the right information at the right time so they choose their next best steps. The self-service experience are the best experiences online. We design solutions that optimize successful self-service for every student. This is an interesting part. I'll tell you more about the personas in a minute, but we design solutions that optimize successful self-service for every student. We do for students, which they should not have to do, because we already know they have to do it. Why are we asking them to do something if we can do it for them? The future is digital, but self-service does not mean our students are alone. We leverage technology solutions to monitor and provide real-time proactive engagement interventions, like what Ashish and his team are helping us build. We're going to show you, if it's specifically, something that we have actually rolled to production already that is consuming AI, and it is self-service. We're going to be addressing what we call the self-service enrollment. And what we have been doing in this process, we're enabling our students to come in to WGU and select and work the whole way into enrollment by themselves. If they need help, we have the right interventions. If they need assistance across the whole flow, we have the right interventions. But the entire flow has been designed to be self-service. Now, we know that self-service is not perhaps something for everything or everywhere. Can I self-service how I'm going to buy my next iPhone? Chances are not. Or maybe you are at that stage of the game. I'm not. But I can tell you that a lot of online services are now favoring self-service. Customers are going more for self-service when it's an online. Let me ask a very stupid question. When was the last time that you guys went to any online retail store and you decided to talk to someone to tell you about the product you were buying? Never. I haven't done it. Maybe you have. I don't know. We understand that as we continue to provide self-service avenues for our students, not everything has to be through AI. So we're choosing exactly where those interactions, we continue to have a real human. And when those interventions will have a real human, because they will be required. We have identified 3 different types of personas that we know will enable us to design better solutions. Again, AI for the sake of AI is not going to give us anything if we don't provide the right experience. We believe heartily the self-service model is the right experience. And we're focusing on 3 different types of personas. The first one is the high level of self-service, individuals that are so ready, they're online native, they are technology natives, they can do everything with their eyes closed. Kind of my kids. Maybe myself, but I'll put myself in the medium level of self-service and low levels of self-service. As you start considering your designs for the technology that you have learned during this conference and how you're going to bring it into your colleges, universities, or any other educational institution you work for, consider the different levels of mastery of the service that you're wanting to do and focus on that. Focus on how you're going to solve for these 3 different types of levels of personas, such that it enables them to be successful no matter which level they are. I remember growing up, I was the one that actually knew how to program my VCR. I'm telling you how old I am already, but my dad couldn't do it, and I would be doing all that, right? And I was all the technology guy all the time. And I am really sad to report that the other day I was struggling with an app, and my 15-year-old boy came to show me how to use it. So at that time, I figured, oh no, I become to my father. But do recognize the fact that there are different levels of consumption of your individuals, and how they will consume it and how you design it is a key factor for your success. Now, with all this said, I wish to now spend time in telling you more about the self-service enrollment journey, because this is a great use case that iSchool Connect with Ashish have come to help us make a reality.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, David. All right, so I think this should work. All right, so yes, my moment is here. David talked to you about the why, and why are we really doing it? Why do we look at self-service as being the next step in terms of innovation with how students interact with WGU? I want to start by sharing this as our funnel, right? You must have seen a lot of funnels where it starts with lead, goes to subscriber, goes to enrollment, blah, blah, blah. You need to flip that, because I'll tell you a personal story. When my parents looked at the funnel of like, oh, Ashish's life, his student journey, he needs to be an engineer. Not a surprise. My parents are Indian, so they wanted me to be an engineer. Stereotype. And I went about it. I actually today do something that's completely different than what my parents wanted me to do. And that's the case with a lot of students, right? That's the case with, I'm sure, a lot of you here. Let's do a raise of hands. How many of you are in the same career path as your education? Okay, few. All right. 5% in the room, right? All right, great. Good for you guys. I'm envious, I'm jealous. But the way we look at the student funnel is slightly different. This is a typical student funnel, right? It's like, what am I looking for? I'm looking for a diploma or a bachelor's degree or something, because this is what I want to study. And then it goes on from there. How do I fund it? The first thing that comes to mind is, do I have a rich dad? Most of us know. Go to student loans. In the end, hopefully I'll become something. So I'll do a diploma in nursing, and hopefully I'll become a nursing assistant. What we are trying to do is actually flip the whole model. You want to think as every enrollment should actually start with an employment question, not with an enrollment question. Not with what should I be studying, but rather what am I looking for is not a diploma or a degree or whatever. What I'm looking for is, what do I want to be in life? I want to be a nursing assistant. And then how do I want to fund it? So we've really been working closely with WGU on rethinking the whole student funnel. Not looking at it as the typical, all right, I've got 100,000 leads in our funnel and my conversion rate needs to be so much, therefore I need to convert. No, really looking at it closely from a student standpoint, a student at the center of our journey. And what do they want to become? Start asking that question of, okay, you want to be a nursing assistant. What do those pathways look like? David and his team have been working on things like wayfinding and just, there's a lot that you can probably add to this after. But iSchool has really, what we've been trying to do with WGU and with a lot of our customers is rethink that whole enrollment funnel. Use AI where it's really needed, not just try and shove it in every place possible. Like today, I'm sure like all of you are overwhelmed with a lot of AI sessions here. Everything has an answer, and that's AI, right? That's what it is all about today, but not necessarily. And that's why we even titled the session when we thought about it. We started by titling the session, not everything has to be AI. And then we said, hey, GSV is going to reject that. So we said, no, we're going to really talk about how we're using UI, UX, and AI together. David, yes, please.
If I may, as you start thinking about the trajectory of the experience of your students, and you start identifying the areas in which technology will support a better experience, you start identifying areas in which AI will enable that experience to be faster, better served, you will discover other areas. Ashish was talking about some other projects that we have going on right now to enable our students to identify faster what kind of program they want to go with the help of UI, AI. We're also identifying other projects like how are you going to be funding your education with the help of AI. So we're identifying other projects just because we're thinking of the experience and not backwards. And like, how do I get this technology to be deployed in my university or my educational organization? It's about the student and the experience you want them to have. And as you do that, if you lean to or with your business owners or partners that you have, if you're in technology, they know their business very, very well, and they have a lot of great ideas, and they will help you think and shape this experience to be much, much better.
So how many of you have heard of GUI or GUI? Most of us know what it is. How many of us have heard of NUI? Natural user interfaces. One at least? Come on, we need one person. All right, okay, great. You're the lucky one. We'll ask you what it, no. So when you think of AI and how it fuses in with good graphical user interfaces and how does it create a good user experience, you want to think in terms of what the world calls a natural user interface, which is basically, it's a typical user interface, touch, either touch or type or voice or whatever that input be, like if it's Alexa, it's voice. But how does a user interface dynamically change itself to personalize and fit every human? And that's really the new way of thinking about user interface. The way David studies, reads, understands what he wants to do and what other ways he can fund his education and everything is very different than my needs, right? I may be looking for scholarships. David might not be looking for scholarships, but he might be looking for something else, really looking for good curriculum and all of that. Not saying I wouldn't, but that's what natural user interfaces are all about. So a lot of what we've been thinking with David and his team, some of them are here, Patty and Hank, I want to give a shout out to you guys, is how do you personalize the enrollment journey? How do you personalize starting from step one? I came to wgu.edu, great. Even the first screen should be personalized. David, what are you looking for? And that's what we've been kind of thinking through really heavily. And it's hard. It's a hard problem. It's not as easy as, oh, yeah, let's do A/B testing on 10 different screens. We'll spend months trying to design prototypes and do all of that, and the users will behave completely differently. And it's not because we don't know the user. It's just because there are so many personas, to David's point. There are just so many personas. There's probably 50 personas that are different just in this room, right? And it's hard to cater to all of your personas with a single user interface. And that's where AI actually starts to come in. And when you think of AI and all the sessions you've heard about AI and you're probably saturated, the one thing that I think we would love for you to go back with is to think of AI as how do I meaningfully adapt everything that's already there? So all our user interfaces and human support teams and everything, and actually use AI to say, okay, I've got 100 things available to me in my kitty, And what can I bring in based on a user's persona?
And it is totally possible, and I'll say this, there's so many great technologies out there already. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. They already have done it, and they've done a really good job. It's not about what technology I bring in. It's, again, about what is the experience I'm trying to change, and how will this new technology or vendor or partner will enable you with the AI that you're trying to bring in.
Yeah. Going back to David's fog behavior model, is all the changes we bring in with AI or effective UI UX is all about improving the motivation of our users and making everything easy to use, right? In that process, pushing everybody to the top right of that chart. That's what we aim to do in the end, right? We want to make, like if Ashish comes to our website, what does he want to see that will motivate him to say, oh, wow, yeah, let me click that button, go to the next screen. So we do a lot of research there. We use a lot of AI there. In the interest of time, our clock is showing 17 minutes. So I'm going to push through a couple of slides quickly, give you a quick visual, a very simple visual. This is kind of stuff that we've put together. The actual screens may not look the same, but to give you an idea of what do we mean by UI and AI and all of that together is some of these things. So think of this as your transcripts. Everybody knows what a transcript is, right? If you submit your transcript to a school, it would typically take about 2 to 3 weeks, generally, unless you're at WGU or schools that are at the forefront of doing things fast, 2 to 3 weeks. Why does that 2 to 3 week timeline even exist? It's because it's sitting on somebody's desk and they need to look at it, do transfer credit mapping and all of that good stuff, and show you some results, right? That's where here's an example of AI that we're trying to build together, and we've actually done a lot of work, and David would love for you to add your thoughts here. A transcript recognition model that we're working on is basically to not just be able to machine read your transcript, but make good intelligence out of it. Understand how many of these courses actually relate to the curriculum, how many courses can transfer, how many credits can transfer, do all of that work, and hopefully in a few seconds rather than 2 weeks, help the student journey be shortened by almost 2 weeks.
I will also add, this is extremely important, at least for us at WGU. When we bring new AI technology to any part of the experience or the journey, we partner extremely close with the business owner of that process. Because as they sit down, we reevaluate the process and we enable them to provide feedback on how the AI is doing it, such that we're continuing to train the model based on how WGU consumes this. So even before our students get to see the daylight of any type of AI model, it has been presented first to our business owners, to whomever owns that business flow, for them to evaluate and retrain whenever needed, such that we serve the students the exact WGU way and not a different type of way, which will be key for all of you as you bring that AI to your technology stack.
And in all of that, in all the AI, don't forget the human. Very, very important. In the end, we're building AI to make humans better, not make humans obsolete, and that's really important. So we have a whole army of humans that support the whole student journey, be it counselors who are talking to students, and be it people who are reviewing documents and everything. And there is always a place for everybody. So just kind of thinking through, like this is just an example, a visual of like a chat box. Sometimes you just want to talk to a human. It's all fast and it's great and it tells me what I want, but hey, can I just have a human just reinforce the fact that this is right for me? Thinking about the human in the loop is how we call it. It's very important.
As a matter of fact, as I said a few minutes ago, right, partnering with those owners of those flows and them being able to provide feedback on part of the feedback loop of your models, it's going to be extremely, extremely, extremely important, because these individuals that are providing that feedback, they breathe in and out every day that flow, and they can actually enable you to be successful. It's a kind of crawl, walk, run approach. At least at WU, we have not rolled anything that is AI without that model of crawling, walking, and rolling and running, because we need that human interaction to make sure that it's serving the right way to our students.
And this is just a summary slide just to kind of put all of that together. And I was talking to somebody outside and they said, yeah, but WGU is a big school and they can do a lot of this stuff. What happens for a small school? Like, how do we even think about deploying AI and doing all these things? It's not about spending millions of dollars and doing tons of work. There are so many ways to start simply, and I mean, we're running out of time, else we would go into that, but maybe a thought on that for schools that can implement in a small way, David.
I would say, again, it's for us, the success that we have achieved so far is focused on two main areas. One, what is that experience for your student, and bringing along those owners of those business processes such that they can provide that feedback on the models and the type of the level of service that you're trying to render. So it doesn't matter if it is a small scale or a large scale. I would encourage you to follow a model as such, because it will enable your students to receive the same level, if not much, much improved level of service.
So what's next in the student journey?
So what is next? Let me tell you what is next for WGU. In WGU, we're going to continue. I told you about the three main blocks that we have broken the holistic experience of the student. But our mission at WGU is to make sure that we are making the lives of those students better by creating pathways of opportunity and attaching those degrees or those attainments they have received, either a certificate or a course or whatever it may be, to something that is really tangible. And that item that is tangible, it translates to having a better job, having a better type of service. The students that have graduated from WGU, within 2 years, they receive a salary increase of an average of $22,000. And after 4 years, they receive an increase of an average of $32,000. So we are here because we're focused on the return for our students. We want to make sure that they are going to be successful at a job. Now, we also understand that sometimes going into a university or any type of education or higher education institution may require a time commitment. And at WGU, I know I'm gonna make this the wrong number, but bear with me, because I firmly believe that 43% of our students are actually, that's not true, 73% of our students are working full-time as they come and they go to WGU. So they need tangible results. So one of the great things that we have done at WGU, and this is 100% the academic team that has done this work, they actually been able to tag every single course with the skills that the students are attaining as they go course over score over score. So we start thinking about skills and what skills can actually relate to that student. I truly believe that skills are going to be the new currency for the future, for a better job, for a better opportunity. So we are focused now into how do we bridge the gap between education and jobs, and that's going to be through the skills and how we map those skills and how we validate those skills and what kind of skills our students are attaining. It doesn't have to be all the way till the graduation day. They can be attaining as they go. There's several certificates that we have embedded inside of our programs. So students, as they go, they can get certifications that will enable them or certify some of those skills. So how do we enable them to start working on, hey, now that I have this level of skills, what kind of job can I start getting? And we're thinking about how do we want to bridge that? How do we bring jobs to those skills that we know our students will attain as they go through the courses?
Perfect. And my clickers stopped. All right, perfect. This is a simplistic way of looking at what we're trying to build next. So skills being the currency that we look at the whole student journey to be based on. Look at skills as sitting like a layer that's sliced between all of the students that you have in your cohorts and the jobs on the other side. In the end, it's about what skills help them achieve what kind of career outcomes and what jobs, And our job as educators, as institutions, is to figure out what are those gaps in the skill set that's needed for a particular job and how do I fill them, right? So when we look at what's next in terms of, okay, now we're trying to solve the whole enrollment journey and try to fix it with AI and make it faster and better and inexpensive. How do we now take it to the next level and make it faster and better and easier to actually figure out what's the right job? And a lot of people are thinking about this, and everybody has a slightly different angle and different slice to it. The way we think about it is basically skills that are clustered together, which hopefully I can show you here. Think of skills like this is some of the work that iSchool's been doing for a little bit. WGU is doing their own work with the skills wallet and all of that. But we're looking at skills with a slightly different angle where we're saying, okay, what are the skills that are verifiable? And how can they be verified? Are they on a transcript that one of my AI models can read and say, okay, on that transcript, I see all these courses and corresponding skills for that? Or is there just a simple human conversation that's needed with one of our admissions counselors to identify these are the skills? And then map the gaps in the skills and figure out, okay, going back to that nursing assistant example, okay, you want to be a nursing assistant. What skills do I have that I can quickly assimilate using machine learning models and whatnot? And then figure out how do I fill that gap. So that's where we are going next. And hopefully in the next session, we'll be able to talk way more about how we're using AI in different ways to fill that gap as well. Because that is what will help us complete that student journey. That's what will help us answer that question on day one of when I go to wgu.edu, how do I become a nursing assistant? How do I become a computer engineer at Google? Just be born in an Indian family. I can do self-deprecating humor. But point being, we want to start tying skills on day one. Skills are not about employment. A lot of people connect skills to employment. It's actually, for us and our teams working on it, it starts with enrollment. You got to think of skills on day one of enrollment, and that's what we've been going after, and that's become sort of our life's journey to just build that. I don't know, David.
Imagine if we could have an environment in which a student that comes to any university, any type of higher education or secondary education, was able to provide information, their LinkedIn profile, their resume, their transcripts, and you create a bank of skills for that individual. And now we start telling them, based on this zip code that you have proximity, these are the different type of jobs that you can start applying. Based on this information that I have of you, through the help of AI, I can tell you these are the different jobs that can pay for your education, or they're already paying for this level of education. Or imagine the ability of saying, hey, by you want to get there, these are the courses or the classes that you should be thinking and considering. That's an environment in which equity can be predominant, where attainment is going to be easier for those individuals that are struggling, because there's too many out there. I'll wrap up with the following. It's not about AI. It's all about the student. At WGU, we have over 169,000 active students in our systems. Out of those, over 21% of them are coming from low-income households. About 33% of them are coming from groups that have been underrepresented. So we are here to enable them and for them to be successful, all of them, all of our students. We have a core belief, which is one by one. As you consider how you're going to implement AI, my invitation is think about the student and the experience that you want them to have. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.